This Christian's about to get sketchy. In my sketchbook, it is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Starting with the grittiness of a broken world and exploring through comic books the gateway to grace that is Jesus Christ. My name is John Bursell. I am a Christian artist living and raising my son in Montana. I've worked in Denver, Minneapolis, and now in Libby, trying to impact my customers with positive interactions. I've mopped floors and managed stores and everything in between, creating everything from paintings, poetry, photography, graphic design, and culinary dishes. I've also taught many art classes. I love Jesus, Mountain Dew, and loud music. Currently, I'm funneling all of my energy into my book series, My Walk. Make sure to smash the subscribe and like buttons. For links to all my social media sites and free My Walk comic book downloads, go to my blog at 3otters.blogspot.com.
Yeah, we're going to teach that.
Yeah.
Watch me.
I'm
Watch
watching.
me.
You being silly. So I wanted to do something a little different for a video. So I'm making this video to just say a few things. I've decided over the next year not to set any goals, but to structure some guidelines to hone my craft. I'm going to take a completely different approach to my art and my life. It's time to be real and to have a story. It's time to be transparent and exposed. Ever since grade school, I've identified myself as a comic book artist. I'm now 53 years old. Do you know how many completed issues of comics I've created in just under a half a century? 0. It's time to be uncomfortable and honest. I've spent a lot of time on social media building myself up, making me sound good, sharing my thoughts on Christian art and my big comic book ideas. But where's the produced art? Where's the completion? So here's some transparent realities. I wash dishes and serve children at a grade school in my hometown. I'm at this time going through a divorce. I'm a Christian who strongly believes that Christ completed what he needed to do for you and I. He did not give up. He did not say it was too hard or too painful. Provided for me salvation and a way out of my sin. And as the head of the household, the one to lead the family, I am called to behave like Christ. And when he died on the cross, he never said, this is too hard. I'm not going to complete this. I'm not going to go all the way. I give up on you. I give up on this. And I feel like I did that in my marriage. Part of me feels that way. And these are just issues that I'm struggling with and working through prayer, through reading my Bible, attending church, getting back into church. And I do know in my heart that there are times in life when things don't work out the way you want it to, and God can still use that. And that some situations when you go into them, whether you're broken or they're broken, sometimes it's just not going to work.
You have 3 old messages. Saturday, 2:24 p.m.
Yes, is this Mary Bursell? You better tell John Bursell to keep his hands off Amber's girls, or Rosehurst is gonna know.
I want to keep this next section brief, not too many details. So if this sounds vague, it's because I don't want to lash out at anybody and I don't want to attack anybody. I'm moving on, and things are getting so much better for me and for Luke in our lives, and but I just wanted to put down a few of the reasons why the marriage dissolved. Like I said, no details, just some vague. Anyways, I had a lot of trouble with my in-laws, and a lot of them would drink, do drugs, allow the girls to go over and do the same at their houses, my stepdaughters, and it was really hard to manage all of that. I was trying to have a home where God was welcomed and that we would pray at meals and we would read the Bible. I was trying so hard to create an environment that was going to be protective and loving, and to give them a strong foundation so when the girls got out into the world, they would be strong and have a sense of self. And I learned the hard way that you can't just come into people's lives and turn everything around the way you want it to go. And it wasn't like I wanted to impose my will on them. I just wanted to protect them from the fate that all my in-laws were suffering from. And so a lot of vaping, drugs, alcohol over at Grandma's house. I got accused of a lot of things when I tried to stop and set boundaries in my home. I had CPS called on me a number of times. I had to go to counseling and I had to go to parenting classes while the girls would go to Grandma's house and party and have boys over there. And it was a slap in the face to deal with trying to structure and lead a home when every time you started to do that, it felt like authorities were called. My wife wasn't supporting my decisions and what I felt because it was where she came from. It was what she knew. And I think she was so broken from her childhood and what she went through. She was very numb and desensitized and in denial. None of this stuff was happening. So I didn't get any support from my wife. It's a very humbling situation where being in a sort of a broken relationship, it's hard when you're going to a church, and at one point I was teaching adult Sunday school before the Sunday services. I was the head of the adult classes. I was the one teaching it. And to go from that to slowly breaking down through the years to the point to where I attend church now and all these new faces in my church greeting me, saying, "Hey, welcome to my church, and I'm glad you came." the things I used to do. It's very humbling to be on the other end of that end of I'm no longer participating in this. And sometimes that's just another reality that I'm dealing with. I ran an art store in Libby, Montana, for about 2 years. Like my art and comics, I tried to approach it in a very serious manner. I researched Lincoln County, where I lived, and discovered it is one of the poorest counties in Montana. So I sourced and brought in cheap art supplies with options to do special orders. I taught art classes and Bible studies. I found a niche in Libby where I was offering an instruction to homeschooled children who needed the credits for art classes, and their parents were helping them with science and math, and parents didn't know what to do to provide for art, so they'd bring them to my store, and I would hold classes and type up little reports for them about their progress. The art store basically started with the idea that I wanted to teach a Bible study. I was working various jobs and was not happy with what was going on at those jobs, and trying to find a way out and to find a better way. But besides that, I just was praying for a place to hold a Bible study. Just, Lord, if you give me a place, I'll do Bible study every Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever it falls. And amazingly, I went from working these jobs that I disliked to suddenly I'm owning a business, and there's a place inside the business to hold my art classes. And so $20 for the class. It's a basic drawing. Friday the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th of October. We're going to have class from 4 to 5 p.m. So sign up is $20, $10 for the class, $10 for the supplies. You get one of these kits in there along with a sketch pad, and you'll have everything you need to draw, and I'll show you some techniques, and we'll have some fun. So I now had a place to hold my Bible studies inside the art store. But this eventually just failed miserably, the art store, everything, because of how toxic my home life was. I learned the hard way that you really need to have a solid foundation at home and build up your family correctly, and then it starts to branch out into the other areas of your life, work, your hobbies, all your social things. If you want to hold a Bible study, it starts at home. I think God really wants us to really build up our family and build up within our own four walls at home first before we go out into the world and try to preach to everybody else or try to influence. But there was something else missing, something holding back my art, my business, and my life. What is my story? I kept putting out in the world who I wanted to be. It was professional and driven and phony. I wasn't being me. I wasn't being real. No one really took to my art store because there wasn't somebody there that was real, somebody they could identify with and connect. And when God wasn't present in my home, I slowly removed him from my art store. So it's time to start over. I hope that I've learned a few things in my life I can use to push forward. I need to put God first. I need God in my home, and I need God in my art. time to stop talking big and start doing big. I need to look in the mirror. I'm a single father. I'm a dishwasher. I'm a failed businessman. I am starting over. It's time to start at the bottom and claw my way back up. The great artist that I used to be needs to practice and start sketching and start building myself up, honing my craft. So I'm going to start with the basic drawing skills, practice and build myself back up. And I will document my journey. I will have a story to tell that is real. I will humble myself, take baby steps, and do the actual work to build up to my comic book. And I'm going to document all of it. It's just a time for me to be honest, to present myself online with my art, my social media, everything that I do and want to do, all the things I want to accomplish with this comic book I'm working on. I really need to tell my story, to not try to be so professional and polished, and just admit that I'm starting over in every respect. I'm starting over in my church. I'm starting over with my art. I've not been producing art for the last 9 years the way I used to. So there's a lot of practice that I need to do and start with the basics at the beginning and build my craft up again. There's a lot of things that I need to work on in the coming months. And what I want to do is share all of that with you and to just be honest about everything. Start over, not try to build myself up to my audience on social media that I'm a big shot and I know what I'm doing and I'm a great artist, but I need to humble myself and start with the basics again and build myself up to creating my comic book, My Walk, and to document this whole journey and share it with everybody. Hopefully I can edit something out of this and put up my story and be real and transparent. Yeah, I guess that's it.